Welcome back to this new Creepy News episode. Hope you had a great New Year's Eve. If not, well, sorry to hear about that, but today I wanted to go over the wiki concerning John Frank Hickey. Now, this is not going to be about the sort of Hickey where it's a love bite or something that happened during a romantic event with someone else. This is actually very grotesque because they dubbed this man the Postcard killer, and they also described him as a child molester and a serial killer. So, if you want to get a Hickey from that guy, be my guest, but I'm out. Anyways, on the wikis they have the following to say concerning his life. John Hickey was born in Lowell, Massachusetts, to Irish immigrants Michael J. Hickey and Mary Ann Margaret. He was baptized Roman Catholic at St. Patrick's Church, which was only 2 blocks from his parents' lodgings. After his arrest for murder in 1912, he claimed to have been physically abused by his father. In his early teens, he joined Lowell's first Congregationalist church on Kirk Street. He has also become an official of the Lowell YMCA and the Christian Endeavor. Now, what about the first murder? This is what they had to write. On September 1st, which is also incidentally my birthday and I have nothing to do with this, on 1883, 18-year-old Hickey contacted police and said that he had found 34-year-old pharmacist Edwin W. Morey dead on the floor of the McGibbon's drugstore, where both had worked. He claimed that Morey had been despondent for some time due to alcoholism and that he had been trying to help his co-worker regain sobriety. As the doctor believed that Morey had taken poison, a stomach pump was brought. At midnight, Morey showed some signs of life, but died shortly after 3 o'clock in the morning. Years later, Hickey admitted to having murdered Morey with laudanum. He had been afraid that if their employer had found Morey intoxicated, he might fire them both. Listing his occupation as secretary of the YMCA, he also applied for and received membership in Lowell's Williams North Masonic Lodge in 1887. In 1889, he became a Master Mason. Despite his later claims, he never attained the rank of 32nd degree Freemason. Although his biographer Vance McLaughlin described Hickey as having quit the Masons in June 1895. Masonic records tell a different story. In March 1895, Hickey was arrested in Lowell for stealing 20 gallons of alcohol from his employer. In response, the Grand Lodge of Massachusetts ruled Hickey a liar and profane, and expelled him from all the rights and privileges of Freemasonry on June 12, 1895. Now, what about the second murder? Let's get into it, because this is what they had to write about that. In 1896, he left the area and would never live there again. You know, the area with the Freemasonry stuff, he was just, I'm out, bitch, fuck this. And then between 1902, he drifted around Canada and the northeastern United States, working various industrial jobs. On December 10th, 1902, Hickey encountered Michael R. Kruk, an 11-year-old newspaper vendor. When Kruk offered to sell him a newspaper, Hickey responded that he would purchase all of them if the boy would follow him into Central Park. When Kruk did so, Hickey strangled him and left his body with the newspaper bundled under his head. The coroner later examined the body and found no evidence of sexual assault. The coroner's inquest ruled that Michael R. Kruk met his death by being strangled by some person or persons unknown to this jury. On December 12, 1902, Michael Kruk's body was released from the morgue and buried at Brooklands, Washington Jewish Cemetery. Talk about a weird ass murder. Like, most serial killers or have a certain particular victim that they want to take out, but this seems all over the place. This is just a random sporadic murder. Absolutely disturbing, to say the least. And of course, it wasn't the final one. There was also a third murder they had documented, and it stated the following. On October 12, 1911, Hickey, then employed as a steel plant supervisor in Lackawanna, New York, noticed 7-year-old Joey Joseph playing at his father's man's furnishing store. Later, when Joey was making mud puddles with a friend in the street near his house, Hickey motioned to him to join him. He gave Joey a few pennies to buy candy for himself and his friend. Upon Joey's return, Hickey abruptly told his friend that it was time for him to go home. He then took Joey by the hand and led him to an outhouse behind a saloon on Ridge Road. There he strangled Joey into unconsciousness, sexually molested him and then strangled him to death. He then dumped the boy's body in the outhouse pit. This is where that disturbing part with the child molesting comes in. It's absolutely gross and disgusting. Even looking at this guy's picture, you can clearly tell this guy's fucked up. So I hope he doesn't stare too deeply into your soul and fucks you over as well if they're looking at his face. And they end this article by saying the following. Despite the assistance of the Buffalo Police Department, the investigation into Joey Joseph's disappearance had almost no leads. Then, on October 30th, 1911, a postcard was delivered to the police chief, Gilson. It read, Joseph will be found in the bottom of a water closet with 3 seats back of the saloon near Doyle's on Ridge Road. A drunk, crazed brain done the deed, and remorse and sorrow for the parents is bringing results that will soon come to an end. The demon whiskey will then have one more victim, making 4 in all. Drag the closet with the 3 seats. They actually abruptly end this Wikipedia article with this. They literally like, okay, we don't have anything else to share concerning this bizarre case, so it ends with such a mystery. I guess ultimately they managed to catch the guy because according to the rest of the wiki on the site, the sidebar has some details. It says he was apprehended in 1912, so after the postcard I guess they figured out who it was. Then the actual sentence of what he got, I can't tell exactly, but it seems he died in 1922, so 10 years after his arrest he also passed away. But the way that happened, it doesn't state. It does say it was in prison, so I guess he probably got life in prison if it wasn't the death penalty. Normally they have details about that as well, so I guess he just passed away in prison, which is where he belonged, because he surely was a nut job, that's clear. That's how we roll on this channel. We only talk about nut jobs anyway, and especially what better way to start the new year with a bunch of nut jobs going into your ears and brains through my narrations. So I hope it didn't traumatize you, and as always, dear viewer, stay safe and have sweet dreams.